I'm having my one.
Hello and welcome to the sparsely populated reaches of podcasting, home to pirates, smugglers, and worse. This is a place with little governance and high instability, being far, far, far away from the wealthy, highly developed podcasts that rotate around Gary Lineker's head. I am Cad Bane, also known as Tom, and I am joined this episode by Boba Fett, aka Seb, Black Kurasantan, who you know as Paul.
Close enough.
We've got, and of course, Han Solo was here. Shooting first, as always, Rhys. Welcome, all you scoundrels.
Hello.
Hello.
All right.
There we go. Lovely. With this new layout and the colours, we look a little bit like we're presenting a kids' TV show or something. Uh,
Yeah.
this 80-second episode, in case you haven't worked it out, we will be talking about Star Wars Outer Rim from Fantasy Flight Games. I'm also going to mention right at the beginning of this episode that our podcast is kindly sponsored by Chaos Cards, the best place on the internet to buy your board games. So while you're listening, don't forget to check out their current stock at chaoscards.co.uk. So, Star Wars Outer Rim came out in 2019 and was expanded upon with 2022's Unfinished Business that we played with as well. The game is set in that area of space of the Star Wars universe where a lot of the action takes place across the TV shows and movies. Tatooine, Geonosis, Naboo, Mustafar, Camino are in it, and you're ultimately playing a kind of pick up and deliver game, flying around the Outer Rim, visiting planets, completing missions, capturing bounties, upgrading your character and ship, all with the aim of becoming the most famous anti-hero in the galaxy. This is a game that we return to on the back of our Eclipse review, maybe slightly weirdly, both in space. Uh, we were saying at the time that we wanted something a bit more than we felt that we got from Eclipse, so stay tuned to find out where we got with that. And as I said, we played with the Unfinished Business expansion that does have a couple of changes in it. Most notably, as well as kind of a bit more content and stuff, which is good. It tries to give you a bit more theme and role playing in there in a set of separate objectives cards that you must complete in addition to trying to reach your 10 fame points. I do like what they've tried to do with this expansion, but for us, I think it potentially felt like it prolonged the game a bit much. What do we think on that point to start with?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe worth saying that we've played this game once and it took 4 sessions trying to complete it, right?
It was a long slog. I mean, it didn't help that I know Seb and I hadn't played for a while. So there's always that kind of getting up to speed, remembering the rules, remembering the kind of actions that you can take. So that probably slowed it down a little bit. But yeah, those extra objectives that you had to do at the end, wow, you know. But for me, it kind of got a bit boring, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
It got very repetitive. It was it was it was just kind of go there, deliver this, go there, deliver that. So yeah, the things that you do, I think, in the game, especially prolonging it, it kind of starts to feel a bit more repetitive maybe than it would do otherwise.
Do you think that's there even without that then? Even
Uh,
without this expanded, do all these kind of different
yeah, I think so.
objectives things?
I think it's not. I can't imagine myself playing this game many times because I
Right.
just in a row in a short space of time. It's not something I'd want to play again now, for instance, because I'd just be
Or
like, oh,
about
I'm
5 years.
just going to be space delivery man again, picking up
Right.
cargo, going there. So yeah, that I think for me was a big downside. Well, there were two big downsides. I think the kind of repetitive nature of what you're doing, um, and I mean that it was only made worse by the dice rolling that you get in this. Like I had this mission that I had to, or a job that I had to complete, and I couldn't do it because of the dice rolls. I was just three times, four times. I I kind of failed it every time, and it just felt like wasted turns every time and time again. But that's part of the first bad thing. The second bad thing, I just felt it was a bit slow, like coming round
Right.
to your turn, especially in the beginning. Everything kind of feels a bit slow at the beginning of the game because you can't do an awful lot. You haven't got much, but then even towards the end of the game, it felt slow, kind of coming round to people's turns, and I kind of got a bit frustrated with that, if I'm honest. So yeah, those are
Yeah.
my definite kind of down points on the game.
Fair enough.
I think we all know who's got sour grapes here.
Yeah. Seb won our game. How do you feel about it, Seb?
Well, I thought it was absolutely fantastic.
Best game ever.
One of my highlights actually was just seeing Rhys losing. Actually,
It's been a while, hasn't it, Seb? So
yeah,
I
it has been.
I get it.
Honestly,
Somewhat of a
your
vendetta
winning
against
streak has
Rhys.
been horrendous. It's been a really hard time for me. I found it really difficult to process. It's been very triggering, actually.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
And the thing that we were talking about, though, you got really stuck by because you raced your way forward in the fame points, and you got to 10 points or 9 points at least, and you're saying, right, here we go, about to win. And maybe because it was probably session two at least by that point, you'd forgotten the bit where we said, oh, you need to do these other objectives.
Well, I did a classic Seb basically and forgot what the rules were.
Got the rules. And then discovered you had to do all this extra stuff, right?
Well,
Obviously, it didn't hold you back in the end because you still won. But like, what are your thoughts about that expanded bit of objectives that you have to do?
I felt like they were a bit unnecessary. I I just felt like it was starting. It's already a good game there, and it's already. I've always enjoyed playing it in just like the basic format that it has. And I think some of the points that Rhys raised about the added time did sometimes make it feel like it dragged. And I don't know why it took us as long as it did. I think maybe there's some issue with playing it online, like in that it feels a bit clunky. There's a lot of stuff
There
to
are a lot of
observe
components, right?
on the components. So you're searching the
Cards
screen
all over the
all the
place.
time.
Yeah.
It just adds a lot of time to it. So you can't have a quick turn. It's quite difficult to have a quick turnaround because inevitably someone's going to end up doing something which takes ages. So yeah, you can kind of sit there for a while, just sort of twiddling your thumbs a bit, knowing what you've got to do. You just got to get to a planet, and that's all you get to think about. Really, you can kind of plan out the geography of how you want to get there. There's only so much of that geographical thinking you can do whilst you're waiting for your turn to come round. Although, right. I was thinking about how I'm going to win.
Well, you're right. Yeah. There's a limited amount in theory that you can think about that you probably in the best case you're going to have about, or worst case depending on your opinion, about four things to plan around because you can have a couple of jobs or bounties and a couple of bits of cargo, and it's all about going to a planet for the most part and doing what those things are telling you to do. So sure, in theory, it could be it could be quite quick. Do you think, like, does the base game appeal to you a bit more than it maybe sounds it does to
the base game? I think
Rhys?
I prefer the base game because it's a quicker game. I don't think I came into this game expecting it to be like potentially 3 to 4 hours of gameplay. I was thinking, oh yeah, we should have this
easily like 6 somehow.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I'm sure that isn't the norm for this game. I think it was an exceptionally long version of the game. So
yeah, I think we kind of got held up by we did have some significant gaps in between, and maybe we only played it for like an hour or so, and then forgot some of the rules in between. Paul, you've had some certainly shorter games of this. What's your opinion on what we talked about so far about, well, firstly, the game, but also that unfinished business expansion?
So I really like the unfinished business expansion. I think, as you mentioned in the introduction, it gives you kind of a bit of a more of a role play element. You're like, oh, okay, this is what my character is into, and I actually tried to kind of tailor the 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 crew I got and the gear I picked up to fit in with that, which I enjoyed. I think playing the unfinished business adds a little bit of time.
Hmm.
Actually, not masses. I think once you're playing and once you're in the flow, it's not so bad because I think there are other cards and objectives that come into the game
Hmm.
which allow you to get more fame points quicker. So rather than in the base game just picking up one fame point at a time, you're picking up two, or in one case, I even managed to get three by completing a job just because of a crew member I had.
Right.
So if you're getting through, if you get into those 10 fame points quicker, you can then do your bonus character objectives, which you'll have been working on the way, is a nice way to tick it off. So
Hmm.
hopefully you hit 10 points and you've only got then that last mission to do. So I don't think it should take much more time. It obviously did. Um, but as you say,
With more experienced players, maybe. That's
yeah.
what it came
And
down
I
to.
also do wonder whether, like Rhys was saying, it felt a while for your turn to come around. If we were playing with just three people, then suddenly the game really
Yeah.
up in speed.
So is it
Yeah.
best? Do you think this is best as a three-player
I,
game? Because I also have had, whenever I play, I've easily played this game 10 times. It always feels a bit slow to me. I always think it's a bit slow, but maybe that's because I've just always played it at four players. Do you think it is really a three-player game?
yeah, I've had a good few. I mean, I've had a couple of four-player games where it's been a couple of hours, nothing more than that.
Mm.
But playing with people that maybe know what they're doing a bit more. Um, but yeah, I think three players tends to work. Um, feels a little less cluttered on the map as well.
Mm.
And actually, the other thing is, it takes up a lot of space on the table. This game.
It's a big game, isn't it? Yeah.
It is a big game. You need a big table for this game. So if you don't
Yeah.
have a big table, maybe you need less players.
Yeah, there's a lot of cards. Like setup must
Mm.
take quite a while with this game and tear down
Yeah,
because it's a lot of little piles going on.
there are a lot of piles, but I feel like you can deal with those slightly easier because the cards are numbered. You don't need to lay all the cards out like they were in the app. You just a stack of
Have them
cards.
in a
So as
deck,
long as
right?
you're
Yeah.
organized and put them away properly,
Yeah.
then you've got your stack of cards ready to go. You know, a couple of little
Yeah. Yeah.
token holders, just dump a load of the tokens out. It's not that bad.
But it certainly does take a big. No, the thing is, it's the map. It's this big
Yeah.
semicircle that just is actually easily 75 centimeters across, I would say.
Yes,
So it does take up quite a lot of space. Does that base mechanic appeal to you, Paul, of going and doing, because you like a bit of a methodical game of planning out turns and a few turns ahead and stuff, right? Is that there is a degree of that in this game, as we're alluding to a little bit, but does that pick up and deliver type of game that in this case actually almost has a semi solitaire element to it? I always think, right? We'll talk about player interaction some more maybe in a bit, but does that appeal to you?
yeah, it does very much so. I like it. I mean, I think the Star Wars theme helps. That does a bit of
Sure, big Star Wars fan, right?
um and seeing the galaxy laid out and stuff is great. But yeah, because I mean, there was that moment after at the end of one of our sessions because I'd been keeping notes. Just Tom used to laugh at me for this, but playing bigger games, I keep a notepad because I am now old and can't remember the last.
It's the best thing ever. I'm totally signed up to it now.
So I left my notes of what five or six things that I wanted to achieve at the start, in the next couple of rounds at the start of the next game. And on TTS, you can like put these hidden blocks so people can't see underneath. So I typed out all my notes and put a hidden block up for Tom to tell me that text, actually, you can see straight through those hidden blocks. And you can all just read what I'd written anyway.
But it wasn't too much of a problem, right? Going back to that point, right, of this game, the player interaction is relatively low,
Yep.
Minimal.
and
Yeah.
it is one of those games where you're doing essentially parallel play almost, right? You've got your own little mission that you're going around, and there's a bit of stuff of I might take a card that you want to get or do something before you, and that kind of thing. That can happen, but anyone playing this game needs to be prepared for that, right?
Yeah, and there are ways of like nicking someone's crew member, or even just slowing them down for a turn can make a huge difference to their game.
Mm.
Um, so there are ways, but a lot of kind of these bigger pick up deliver type can be a bit conflict heavy, which I think the four of us really enjoy.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, actually, they're not a massive fan of something that's very heavy player v player conflict. And so,
Right, which could suffer, imagine if this game had a lot of, right, okay, I can see Paul's doing really well. I'm going to go and fly and just blow all his stuff up. Then in other sorts of games, that would really set you back. And so you'd maybe spent, in our case, 3 hours doing that, and then you'd been set back and have to start again. That short maybe would suffer from something like that. I don't know. I've always felt it needs a bit more. Like unfinished business does give you a few more opportunities to screw up other people's
yep,
stuff a little bit more, and certainly like I think there's more stealing crew. I'll just quick aside. One of the things that is really good about it is it gives you loads more cargo and jobs and bounties and stuff to do. That is great because I think the base game doesn't quite come with enough. But it's still, I still feel like there should be a bit. I want there a bit more threat. I think that's what I want in it. Is that really there's not very much that is going to stop me doing what I want to do. Is that actually I could play through that entire game and just do one thing and then another thing and another. And other than bad dice rolls, and maybe talk about how the skill checks work briefly in a minute, there's not a lot that can go wrong. There's these little patrol. There's four different patrols representing the Imperials and the Rebels and a couple other different factions that are flying around that can sort of interfere with what you're doing, but they get pulled and pushed around the galaxy. They make some progress towards you that might cause you a problem, and then the next person's turn they fly off in the other direction, completely random. So it just lacks a little bit of threat. And I'll give you an example of what I mean, Paul. It's a game that you and I have played, and I've gone backwards and forwards on this game as well. Is Merchants and Marauders,
yeah,
which is that pirate game that I would like us to play on the pod at some point, where it does a similar sort of thing, but there are you're playing as a pirate in that one, and there are the merchant vessels of the Dutch, the French, the Spanish, the British sailing around, and it feels a lot more like, all right, I've got to nip through. Which again, this Star Wars feels like it should be. It's all about little moments that they just managed to outrun the Imperials or whatever, and get to where they need to go, and that should, it's all about thieves and smugglers and that kind of thing. It's meant to be the theme, and that's just not really there for me.
No, they're just annoying in the game, in honesty, the different like the different factions. And because it's random to where they move, it becomes annoying because they might block your movement to the next planet that you want to make, or whatever, and it just kind of feels a bit unfair in a way, because it's random. Yeah, if there was some sort of hunting mechanic where if you had a negative reputation with them, they would actively kind of gun for you, that would be
Which
a
is
bit exciting.
somewhat how that works in Merchant and Marauders.
Yeah.
Somewhat anyway, because again in the Star Wars Outer Rim game, you have reputation with all these guys, right? And so if you've got negative reputation, they should be trying to, as you say, hunt you down, right? Rather than just generically flying around because of a card that someone drew.
Waiting for you to bump into them, basically. Yeah.
Exactly. exactly. Go on, Seb.
Well, my thing was to basically brown nose the lot of them so I could get a yellow disc to complete my personal objectives. So I didn't really have any interaction with them at all. I just had to complete missions to say, yeah, my reputation with them's good. So I could get close to the victory. But yeah, they didn't bother me in the slightest. There was like, there should be more of a threat, I think. The only thing that went wrong for me was blowing up in the maelstrom, and I felt that happened on like my second turn, but actually it didn't have too much of an impact because I went on to win the game. So
Just in case anyone
drops that in.
Did you?
had forgotten in the last 10
I'd
minutes, Seb
forgotten.
won the
Yeah,
game.
I'd forgotten.
well, you know, you did give me a bit of piss take for only being my second pod win, but you know.
Exactly. All the grief that I get. This is the second bloody game you've ever won. Outrageous. I've got 9 wins. Thank you very much. Does it feel thematic, this game? Does it feel like
Yeah.
you're in Star Wars and you're doing the sort of things that a Han Solo type character should be doing? Does it at least have that in its favor?
Definitely. Yeah, I think so. It's quite sandboxy. You can kind of go and do whatever you want, which is quite nice about the game. If you want to go and catch bad guys, you go and do that. If you want to deliver cargo, you go and do that. If you want to do some jobs or get some crew, there's the options are, sure, they're limited, but you don't have to do just one thing. So yeah, it does give you that kind of feeling of freedom and being in space and just being able to kind of go anywhere, do what you want. So yeah, I think theme is bang on, to be honest. I think they've done a really good job on that front.
And it's in line with the Fantasy Flight stuff, whether it's Star Wars Armada or Legion. They kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah.
With it, right? And it lets you fulfill any fantasy out of being Bosk or Han Solo or anyone like that, right? So I think there's a bit of that element to it that you can definitely say in its favor. What about skill checks and combat done essentially in the same kind of way? Paul, do you want to just talk us approximately how those two things work, and then what's your thoughts on that?
Okay, so to roll for skill checks, you're rolling 2 dice, and they are 8-sided dice. Is that
I think
right?
so, yeah. DX, yeah.
With a selection of different things on there. And if you are unskilled in something, you're looking for crits, which is these little circular explosion things. If you are skilled, you are looking for a hit, which is like that but filled in, or a crit. Or if you are super skilled, I can't remember the term.
Over skilled,
over qualified for the job.
overqualified for the job.
Then
That's
anything
it.
but a blank will do you. And so it's a very quick way to see if you succeed. But yes, you are at the mercy of rolling dice, and so there is some of that. Not that I'm salty, just putting it out here about Seb's win. I think I had 4 action.
Oh God, you did.
Final mission.
This
You
is why I
did.
directed this question at you, Paul, because I thought you might feel a
Yes.
bit aggrieved by it.
No, I don't feel aggrieved. You're playing a game where you roll dice, and at least Rhys didn't win. I'm pleased. I'm pleased for Seb that he won because, after all of this time, it must
toil.
really hurt. So, and then he just absolutely smashed it out of the park. First try, no issues. Combat, on the other hand, you're rolling dice. Crits are worth 2 points. Hits are worth 1 point. You might have cards that modify things, but that's it. You roll, they roll. Whoever gets the highest score wins. And then you both take damage to the amount of points that the other person has done. And if you run out of hit points, it's not the end of the world. Essentially, you lose your movement step of your next turn to just fix your ship or fix yourself.
Nice.
It's simple, it's easy. And we talked about Race for the Galaxy. Race for the Galaxy?
We have spoken about that.
No, that's not
Need
the
more
one I'm
information
thinking
on your
of.
reference.
Whatever the game we decided to then play this from.
Eclipse.
Eclipse, yeah. Eclipse, that's the one. Second Dawn for the Galaxy. It's something
Because
galaxies, but where combat can sometimes feel quite labored because you're rolling and then rolling and rolling and rolling, and you're going, and especially like I remember in that game, was it you and Seb were fighting and were just not managing to hit each other for ages? So there was just
Being
lots of
pretty
dice.
terrible, yeah.
But this, you just get the dice, you throw them, do any modifiers, and that's it, and then you move on. So it doesn't take a long time. It's simple.
And good point to get into, I think, then who this game is for. Is it a bit of a family game? Is that really as far as it goes, or is there's a more bite to it?
I
It
mean,
takes
Star
two
Wars fans,
Star Wars fans, for one, for sure, absolutely.
they've done a good job of it. If you like Star Wars, you'll probably like this game.
If you like a more in-depth game, but don't necessarily want to be beating each other up for the whole game, then this works.
Yeah, true.
Because even the combat, we talked sort of passingly referenced it before of what it could be like. But even if you lose a combat here and you lose all of your hit points on your ship or your character, you basically just miss a turn, right? And you're good to go again. Not even. You actually just miss the opportunity to move or earn a bit of money.
Yeah.
So it's very light in that sense of consequences of losing that little bit, right?
But you are punished for time because it then takes quite a long time for your turn to come around again. And all you've been able to do is restore your health. And so then you're just waiting.
So
But
it's
then you've got
patience
encounters
impact.
and things, right?
I need action.
You still do the market, you still do the encounters. So there are other things you can do, I guess. But yeah, it does slow you.
Yeah.
And when it feels, and that's the thing, I think, because it takes so long for your turn to come round, if you have a turn where you do have to heal, or if you have a turn where you get a really bad dice roll, it kind of hits harder because you're like,
Do you think
now I've got to wait, for
it's
my
interesting?
turn to come round again and try that or do that, Yeah.
So obviously, I've mentioned how long the game went on, and that just sucked a bit, but it wasn't something that I particularly thought that. I think my thinking on this was that this does feel like a kind of fairly introductory family type game because it is low penalty in those kind of areas. But actually, I hadn't really thought about it in the fact the game takes so long. There isn't maybe an unintended penalty for dying or
Yeah, although I think,
losing.
as I said, once you know what you're doing, if you're playing with a group of people and it's not being broken up, I think it works a lot better on the table.
Yeah.
Actually, that for me was the longest game. I think I could have fit 2, maybe 3 games into that time it took us to play the one game.
Was weird long. Yeah, okay. And a big part of it, the game is upgrading, right? So we have recently played Witcher the old world, and we came away from it. We'll talk some more about this in a future episode, but came away from that thinking a little bit of it's a bit too easy to upgrade your character here, right? Is that you just go places, you don't have to do anything, you just get an upgrade. How does this game compare to that in the way in which you're upgrading your character, your ship, and that kind of stuff? Is this? I know it's a little bit different in what it's trying to do here, but at heart, you're
Yeah.
still doing you're leveling up.
I really like the kind of gear we're talking about, the gear and the mods. So the gear you can get for your character and the mods that you can get for your ship, which kind of give you a boost. So what Paul was talking about earlier, if you roll an eye, you might have a mod on your ship that will turn that into a hit or a crit or something like that. I thought they were really cool. I really like them actually.
And new ships, you can buy new ships as well, right?
And you can buy new ships. Yeah.
Get the old Millennium Falcon out.
Yeah, I was really tempted by the Millennium Falcon just because
Because, yeah.
I was you know, I didn't go for it in the end. But yeah, I actually quite like that element. It's not a huge element to the game.
Mm.
It's just a small element. It's nowhere near as involved as Eclipse that we were talking about on the other pod. Um, and that's a real big plus for Eclipse for me is the upgrading side of it because it's just so involved and it's
Yeah,
kind of
it's
a
the best
mini
bit of the
game in
game, really.
its in
Yeah.
itself, right?
But like
Um,
Eclipse, you do have to upgrade to be able to progress. If you want to complete your missions, like if you want to get a big bounty, then you must upgrade. You've got to have some mods. You've got to have some better weapons. Otherwise, they'll just kill you because you start off a bit lame. You do have to get some better stuff, don't you? If
Mm.
you want to get those higher rewards, so you do have to be thinking about it quite a lot. But it's all by chance as well, like in Eclipse,
mm,
where you know the deck is revolving all the time, isn't it? So you might plan, oh yeah, I like the look of that. Might not be there in a turn's time. Um, so you are quite having
It's
to
not just a
adjust what you're
free
doing.
market that you can just sort of buy whatever you want, really.
Yeah. Well, actually, I did steal a couple of things off Rhys. I did enjoy doing that.
But
a lot of
I
hate, a
also
lot of hate for me at the moment. Not sure how I should feel about this.
no, we love you.
Just go and lose a few more games, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, just stop being so good, Rhys.
Yeah, yes. Just
Dumb it
Well,
down a bit, will you? Jeez.
well, I'm very, very badly losing Time of Crisis with you guys at the moment. So
First ever bad loss, isn't it?
it's a really bad loss, though.
Um,
But I mean, see previous episode for our review. But I'm the person that's having the bad game.
You are having one of the worst games I've ever seen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
coming back to upgrading, I think what I like about this is your upgrade slots are limited, and crew will give you certain boosts and weapons personally and mods for your ship. But I think you also need to be a bit flexible of saying like, oh, I've got this really cool thing, but actually it doesn't suit me for these missions.
Yeah, it's true.
You,
Yep.
you know, if you've got mods that do you really well for character attack and damage, but actually you need to upgrade your ship. I think you need to be flexible to kind of sack something off that you like for
But
more important.
so sure, I'm with you somewhat, but to Seb's point, don't you think that is really difficult in this game because you're so dependent on whatever card is available? And again, another nice little thing that Unfinished Business adds is it allows you to cycle through two cards on just a single card from
Yeah.
the market deck of what you can buy. But have you ever really been able to do that? To go, right, I've done stuff that I was doing to do with my ship. Now I'm going to sack off those mods and go more towards, or crew, to go more towards the other mission that I'm trying to do.
Well, I think so. And I think even if I was playing the base game, I would bring in that two card cycling.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And there were times where I sort of pulled a blank, but by the time, because my character, I needed high physical combat rather than ship combat.
yeah.
And maybe I just got really lucky, but by the time I was only on about 3 or 4 fame points, I had
Mm.
an amazing gun upgrade and a good personal armor upgrade. And there is enough stuff in there that I think you just need to be flexible and go for it. And yeah,
Mm.
it just seems because there's attack upgrades, there's armor upgrades, and there's ship upgrades. So there aren't masses. So it might not be the ideal
Sure.
armor you want. It might not be the ideal weapon you want, but there's enough in the market.
Yeah, it kind of will lead more towards I found doing either some sort of ground combat or you're doing some sort of space combat, and your crew will be the skills that giving you the skills that you need to pass the skill checks. That's the big part of it, I think.
Yeah. And I think I did that's what I didn't do very well with my crew, is they all seem to have exactly the same skills.
But the crew, to be honest, the crew are even more random because those are based on contact points. So at this point, however many minutes in to talk about how the game works is that on your turn, you will. That guy who gave us the brass review is going to love this, isn't he? The game will be that you'll move around or earn a bit of money. If you're on a planet, you do some interaction, the stuff we're talking about buying from the market, and then you'll do an encounter step, which will be potentially a card that you'll pick up, or potentially do a try and get a bounty done, or you do a contact token, which is mostly how you're going to get crew. And these are spread on all the different planets in the galaxy. You have these face down contact tokens placed at random with some suits on them, so you at least have a sense. Okay, I'm trying to go from a bounty point of view, and you're trying to find those characters because sorry, on the other side of those, it's just characters from the Star Wars universe. And from a bounty's point of view, it gives you a bit of a clue because you know that's okay, that's a green token or a yellow or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're just trying to find crew, you've no idea what's going to be on that planet, right? And you flip it over, and that crew might be not what you're looking for at all. Not the crew that you're looking for.
Very good.
Star Wars.
But what I would say is because initially people are looking for bounties, so stuff's getting flipped. You can then look at what is flipped and have a look. It's then free information. So
Sure.
if you could do with something that improves your knowledge or your tech or whatever, you can see what characters are out there and then pick those up, and you can have a look at the available ones and see if any of them kind of suit what you're after.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that
once
would have been
they're
handy.
flipped, it's free.
It's open info, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
We didn't
Yeah, that's
actually
good.
play it like that, but
My,
Yeah.
my character was Boba Fett, and his thing was that he can secretly look at the unflipped crew cards, which I think is a really good
yeah.
special ability.
Amazing ability.
Yeah, it really shortens journey times around the galaxy. So that really helps planning in this game. And I think this game is all about planning your turns ahead, like in terms of the cards that you pick up and so your cargoes and your bounties. You really need to make sure that the route you take is the most efficient way you can do it, because you could end up flying halfway across the galaxy and it's taking you 2 or 3 turns to do that. And you could have been doing all sorts of stuff if you thought, oh, actually, maybe I just go through the core worlds and take that route, which I think is a great
That's
upgrade.
the other good
actually.
thing from Unfinished Business, isn't it? Because the galaxy is this sort of semicircle, and in the base game, if you're down here, you've got to go all the way around to get to there.
That
Where,
might be the best bit.
yeah, you
Right.
can just jump.
You can just now jump across the bottom of it, right, from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Yeah. Okay. And just before we get to some scores, what on earth was the comparison to Eclipse, and have we had success here?
I think we wanted to do it because of the upgrade mechanic, and I seem to remember, Paul, I think you said, "Oh, you should try because you
it's
can
the
upgrade
best
your ships and it's a better game." Yeah,
We've tried.
Yeah.
We've tried.
I
Okay.
think Paul
Tried
just
it.
wanted to play out Rim.
Just
yeah.
I've got a great idea.
What do I want to play next?
Yeah.
How-
Yeah, come
how
in,
can I
in your
weave
score.
that-
Yeah. Great. All right, let's do some scores here. So I'm going to do this in anti-clockwise. Paul, we'll start with you. Anti-clockwise. She's always on time. Paul, what's your score?
Well, I have to say, this game does very much remind me of Dominion.
Too late. Sorry, we've already reviewed Dominion on the pod.
Have we? Okay, I forgot. I was trying to think of another game. No, don't worry. Look, I love this game. I think it's great. I think we had a bit of a dud one. But it's not me, it's you. And I think I'm going to be at 8.5. I think it's a very good game. Yes, it would be a bit nicer if there was a bit more player combat, but then I think it would drag the game out a lot longer. So, yeah, excellent. Big Star Wars bonus points as well, because I think they got the theming and the artwork spot on for this. So, 8.5 from me.
Okay, cool. Starting high. I think we might be in for a drop. Rhys?
I don't love this game. Um, I for the reasons I've already mentioned. I'm not a massive Star Wars fan. It's okay. And the game is okay. It's just nothing. It's nothing groundbreaking. I don't think I'd ever own this game. And I think that the repetitive nature of what you do in the game would just mean that you couldn't play it. You couldn't play it often, or I couldn't play it often because I think I'd just get bored with the just constant back and forth, jumping between planets, delivering stuff, contracts, so on.
Mm.
So I'm going to give it an okay score of 6.
Okay. I was expecting lower, to be honest. So that's
No,
six.
I
Six.
I almost went 5.5, but it just felt a bit harsh
So
because it
after
is an
Paul's 8.5, oh God.
it is okay. It is okay. It's just a kind of okay game. So I don't want to slate it. I don't want to hurt Paul's feelings. Um,
Six
I'm
is exactly that.
thick-skinned. It's fine.
The six is the it's okay kind of score, right?
it's okay. Yeah.
Getting down to 5, that's when it's a bit like, no, it's not really,
Mhm.
not really a good game.
Yeah.
Seb, where are you? So yeah,
I think
score?
like what Paul says, the game that we played was a bit of a dud in terms of how long it took us. So like
Mm,
I think we were all probably feeling a bit tired of the game by the time it was done because of just the amount of effort it's taken to get to the point of finishing it. So I'm not going to base my score on that game because I think it'd be unfair to. But I have played this game a few times before.
yeah,
Enjoyed it. I don't think it's an amazing game. I think it's a good, almost a very good game. So I'm going to give it a 7.
a 7. Yeah, 7 is a good score, as the phrase goes. Cool, thank you. I think from my point of view, I kind of felt this for a long time, that it's as you said, Reese, it's okay. I just feel like some bits of it are a little bit undercooked. There could just be a little bit more in there. Maybe just adding a few more little elements. I just want a bit more from the game, really. I think I didn't really enjoy our game. I don't None of us particularly enjoyed the game that we had, but we'll try
Over 4
and
nights.
over 4 nights. But it's worth saying as well, it was also quite close. We haven't really mentioned that. Is that yes, Seb won, and Paul, you were very close to winning. I can't remember how far I was in my objectives, but I was on 9 fame, and Reese, I think you're on 8 fame, there or thereabouts. So actually, in the main thing of how many points, fame points, victory points, it was pretty close.
It wasn't
But
time of crisis.
no, it
Yeah.
was no for sure. Uh, so anyway, I think it's okay. I think there are better Star Wars games out there, and I think there are better pick up and deliver games too. So I was nearly going to give this a 5 as well, but I thought no, don't do that based on the game that we've had. So I'm also going to give it a 6. I think it's all right. It's all right, but I'd almost struggle to recommend it to someone, I think. So
Yeah.
that unfortunately gives us one of our lowest podcast scores for a little while, of 6.88. So it's you
It's
had our
fine.
opinions.
It's
Fine.
It's fine.
It's
It's
You're
okay.
entitled to your wrong opinions. That's all right.
6.88 is very close to a 7, right? So
The
How
thing is,
much do I need to up my thing?
yeah, change your mind to a 10. No.
whenever I see a game made by Fantasy Flight, I'm thinking, you know, this could be a big one. This could be amazing because of what they've made in
Yeah.
Twilight Imperium. I'm thinking, loads of player interaction, epic and really interactive, and it really disappoints on that.
Well, I
We
think
could have
that's
had a game of Twilight Imperium in the time it
It
took.
really
Or we could have. We could have.
Oh, I'm going to give it a lower score for that. Made me think of that.
it's a very good summary, I think, Seb, is that you expect a lot from Fantasy Flight and it just isn't quite there. So that was Star Wars Outer Rim. I think we're a bit mixed. as you can tell, overall on it. It always felt to me like a game that had great promise as well. I remember when I saw it first at Tabletop Live in Crystal Palace in 2019, it just come out, seemed really exciting. And maybe this will just speak for myself a bit. It just feels like it needs a little bit more conflict, a little bit more risk, more threat in there. And you don't still quite get that from Unfinished Business. But if, despite that, and you actually think, yeah, Paul's on the money here, and you're still interested and think that game could be for you, you can usually pick up this game for about 50 quid ish. And at the time of recording, Chaos Cards have copies available of Unfinished Business, that expansion, which is available for £36.95. That was episode 82. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you, Paul, Rhys, and Seb. If you'd like to support or help our podcast out, please tell a friend about the podcast, get the word out there. Leave us a star rating if you want to on your podcast platform of choice, or if you're watching us on YouTube, give us a like and perhaps even a subscribe wherever you're getting this content from, so you'll never miss an episode. We'll be back soon with some more board game chat. And so until next time, enjoy your gaming, and why not try having a 1 to your next game.
I'm having my 1.